What if the story of One Piece isn't just about pirates, treasure, or freedom? What if it's about a war between gods, a forgotten earth, a burning sun, and a history rewritten by those who claim divinity? The Void Century didn't just erase the truth, it replaced it with a new religion, a false light, a blinding god. But now, the truth is rising, and when the dawn comes, it won't be their sun, it'll be ours. Welcome to Luck of All Trades. This isn't just a theory, it's a reckoning. We're diving into the forgotten truths, challenging the gods, and rewriting the story of One Piece, as it was always meant to be told. Let the real history begin. The First World, a cosmic betrayal. Before the world government, before the celestial dragons, before even the Void Century faded into whispers, there was O Primero Mundo, the First World, a world of harmony. People lived in tune with the land. They asked, they thanked, they returned what they took, and the earth gave back tenfold lush forests, golden soil, skies that wept only when needed. But abundance breeds ambition, and slowly, gratitude was replaced by greed. They built machines that challenged the gods, towers that pierced the clouds, cities that drowned the voice of the wind. The earth was no longer sacred. It was a resource. And the earth felt everything. You see, gods don't fade quietly. The god of the earth, whether spirit, being, or force of nature, retaliated, not out of cruelty, but balance. Floods swallowed monuments, earthquakes shattered temples, volcanoes screamed where prayers once echoed. And in their fear, mankind did not apologize. They abandoned the earth. They turned their eyes to the sky, and in the burning light above, they found something new, a different god, a blazing symbol of order, of dominance, of conquest, the sun god. But this wasn't the laughing, dancing Nika. No, this was a sun that burned, a sun that promised control, that demanded loyalty, that offered salvation in exchange for silence. And so history was rewritten. The earth was demonized, the old gods forgotten, the first world buried beneath myth and rubble. And what rose from its ashes? The world government, the celestial order, a system not built to remember the first world, but to erase it. Until now. The sun gods rise, empire in the name of light. Enter the god of the sun. In Aztec myth, he was Huitzilopochtli, born to battle the night, born in blood. He didn't promise peace, he demanded sacrifice. Now imagine that myth reborn not in temples of stone, but in the shadows of the One Piece world. The sun god here does not arrive to heal. He comes to rule. In their terror, the people abandoned the wild earth and turned to the sky, to something they thought they could measure. The sun, predictable, trackable, worshipable. And so they made a choice. Trade chaos for control. The earth, unruly, cyclical, raw, was cast aside. The sun, eternal, high above, untouchable, was crowned, and that is where they stepped in. The five elders, what if they didn't just rise? What if they were anointed? Chosen by the sun god, or worse, claimed they were not prophets, not priests, avatars, or perhaps creators of a god they could command. They stood before the world and declared, "We have tamed the fire. We have mastered the heavens. We are the keepers of balance now." And the people, afraid, desperate, blind, believed them. But this wasn't salvation. It was seduction. They weren't restoring the natural order. They were rewriting it. The five elders didn't inherit power. They manufactured it. Under the light of a sun god, they built themselves a god of obedience, of sacrifice, of silence. And from this lie, the world government was born. A new religion, a new empire, a new era, all shining beneath a sun that no longer gave life, but took it. The architecture of divine dominance. Look at Marigioise. Not just a city, not just a palace, a monument to dominance. Built high above the clouds, carved into the spine of the world itself, the red line, untouchable, godlike. This is no accident. This is ritual, a pyramid for the modern era. Just like the ancient temples of the Aztecs, where only the chosen few could climb to the top and commune with the gods. But here, they don't speak with gods. They pretend to be them. This is the architecture of sun worship. At the top sit the celestial dragons, clothed in arrogance and fed by fear. And just like the ancient sun cults, they demand sacrifice. Not hearts, not gold, freedom. Entire generations enslaved families, tribes, entire islands, just to keep the fires of their illusion burning. They call it balance. They call it peace, but it is tribute. It is the old world, dressed in white robes and holy lies. And tell me this, why does the five elders' throne room look so ancient? Why the stone, the glyphs, the symbolism, the shadows? The world government is only 800 years old. So where did that architecture come from? The answer? It wasn't built for them. It was built before them. A relic, a ruin, a throne room from the first world, and rather than bury the past, they crowned themselves atop it. They didn't build the future. They hijacked it. And ever since they've sat high on the red line, not to honor the gods, but to replace them. The cycle of civilization parallels and evidence. Every age believes it is the first. Every empire thinks it will be eternal. But history? History has a habit of echoing. And in the world of One Piece, those echoes are deafening. Let's start with Wano, closed borders, a hidden land. But not to protect itself from the world. To preserve something ancient, a poneglyph, prophecy, ancient weapons. Wano isn't just guarding Joy Boy's legacy, it may be guarding a piece of the first world. Then there's Skypiea, a kingdom quite literally above the earth. They worship a sun god. They live in the sky, and yet they cast down the Shandians, a people of the earth, close to nature. Protectors of the bell, another symbolic fall, from earth to sky. That golden bell, it's not just a relic, it's a beacon, a sound that echoes through the ages, calling people to remember the lost world. And at the center of it all stands the sun god. Not just a name, not just a legend, but a battle between meanings. On one side you have the son of the five elders, a god of order, of sacrifice, of control. A son that demands obedience, a system where power flows upward. On the other, Nika, a warrior of laughter, a bringer of chaos, a god of freedom. Why does he laugh? Because freedom mocks the throne. Joy Boy didn't become the sun god to rule. He became the sun god to reclaim the light, to turn their twisted religion inside out. And then there's Emo, the one who sits on the empty throne, a figure cloaked in shadow, yet obsessed with the light. Emo doesn't fear darkness. Emo fears the wrong sun. Emo doesn't want the sun that warms or liberates. Emo wants a sun that blinds, that scorches, that silences. A sun that turns gods into tyrants and people into tools. This is the cycle, the rise and fall, earth to sky, freedom to chains, joy to order, and now that cycle is breaking. The cycle of civilization, One Piece's hidden war between sun and earth. They say history is written by the victors, but in One Piece, history was buried. Why did Wano close its borders? Because it wasn't just protecting Joy Boy's legacy, it was guarding something older. A road poneglyph, an ancient weapon buried underground, a prophecy passed down through generations. Wano isn't just isolated, it's a vault of truth. Look at Skypiea, a literal kingdom in the sky that worships a sun god. But the Shandians, those who were closest to the earth, were banished. Forced from their land, they carried the golden bell, a symbol of memory, and rang it so their lost world wouldn't be forgotten. Now think about Nika, the sun god. He fights, yes, but he also laughs. Why? Because freedom is chaos, it's unpredictable. It's the exact opposite of the control the five elders want. Nika isn't a ruler, he's a rebellion given form. And here's the twist. The sun has two faces. One belongs to the five elders, sacrifice, dominance, false order. The other belongs to Joy Boy, laughter, defiance, and freedom. And maybe that's why the world government fears Nika. Not because he's powerful, but because he reminds the world of what it forgot. Emo sits on an empty throne, claims to rule from the shadows, surrounded by the five elders named after planets, cloaked in cosmic symbolism. They don't serve the people. They serve a rewritten mythology. Zunesha Marsh is still punished for a crime in the Void Century. What crime? Speaking, remembering, bearing witness. Elbaf's Tree of Life stretches skyward, chained to a past long erased. The Earth God who once brought balance was silenced, but not erased. And now, as the drums of liberation beat again, as the sun rises once more, One Piece isn't just a treasure. It's a reminder that the Earth still remembers, and the world is waking up. The counterpoints that make the theory stronger. But the sun is usually the symbol of good. And that is exactly why it works. You think tyrants walk in shadows? No. They wear halos. They take the light and twist it. They make the people believe that warmth means loyalty, that heat means justice. The five elders didn't just rise to power. They rebranded divinity. Like colonizers did to ancient cultures, replacing earth spirits with solar deities, so they could build temples atop sacred land and call it progress. It wasn't enlightenment. It was erasure. There's no earth god in One Piece. Not yet. But open your eyes. What is Uranus, the unknown ancient weapon? A sky god, a force of nature, possibly forgotten, possibly buried. What is Zunesha, the walking continent? A punishment from a god we no longer name. What is Elbaf's Tree of Life? A symbol of Earth's resilience, deep roots, ancient wisdom, still standing tall. The Earth God doesn't speak anymore, because it was silenced, but the echoes remain. If the first world fell, why hide it? Simple, because the truth is a weapon. If the world learns that the five elders weren't chosen by divine right, but were men who stole a throne and rewrote the gospel, then Mary Geoise crumbles. The celestial dragons lose their skyborn crowns, and the people realize they were never subjects of gods. They were slaves to a lie. So yes, hide the first world, erase the murals, bury the temples, burn the scrolls, because the moment the truth rises, so does the world. The Void Century didn't just erase history. It rewrote mythology. It took gods that once breathed with the earth and replaced them with idols forged in fire and control. The five elders do not rule because they are wise. They rule because they rewrote the gods. The earth god, if such a being ever truly existed, was not a king. He was chaos and balance. He was life and death, freedom and wild growth. He asked for nothing but respect. But that terrified them, because you can't build an empire on unpredictability. So they made a new god, the sun god. Clean, bright, predictable, but hungry. Where the earth gave, the sun demanded. Where the earth was free, the sun was bound by sacrifice. And in that sacrifice they found control. The five elders became his avatars, not to worship him, but to wield him. Not to serve, but to rule. But now, Joy Boy rises again. And this time, he's not here to replace one god with another. He's here to burn the whole concept down. He wears the title, Sun God. But he laughs in its face, because this isn't about gods anymore. It's about freedom. It's about breaking the divine monopoly, shattering the myth that someone has to rule, dismantling the idea that control is sacred. So when the sun rises at the end of One Piece, it won't be the one IMU tried to chain in the sky. It won't be a weapon of sacrifice. It will be ours, a dawn without kings, a light without masters, a world without gods. Only us, laughing. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this theory, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps keep the journey going, and every comment, every view, it all means the world. More One Piece truths, more deep dives, more mind-blowing connections coming soon. This is Luck of All Trades. See you in the next one.